The Colosseum, perhaps the most renowned monument in the world and the pulsating heart of the Roman Empire, stands as a testament to 2,000 years of human drama, where heroes were both made and broken. This iconic arena, crafted from stone, brick, and mortar, bears the marks of its turbulent history, with hidden details beneath layers of grime, now coming to light thanks to a contentious renovation project aimed at restoring it to its ancient glory. Rome, known as the Eternal City and once the center of the greatest empire of the ancient world, holds the Colosseum at its core. Despite its age, this monumental structure is in urgent need of repair, and through an unprecedented public-private partnership, it is undergoing a historic restoration. This effort is not only a pleasure, but also a duty, as the Colosseum symbolizes Italy and is beloved worldwide. Today, restorers meticulously remove centuries of dirt to reveal the original colors of the monument, with scaffolding reaching the top of the imposing structure and lifts carrying workers 55 meters high to enjoy breathtaking views of the city. Beneath the accumulated grime, the monument is being freed and beautified, yet many secrets still await discovery. Rome itself is the most famous city globally, drawing millions of tourists annually who visit the Vatican, the heart of the Catholic faith, and marvel at ancient ruins. The Colosseum captivates because of its uninterrupted history, having been in continuous use with only brief interruptions, undergoing constant transformation. While the Roman Forum served as the political center of ancient Rome, it was the Colosseum that truly captivated the Roman people, where emperors financed high-quality entertainment to win the favor of citizens. Construction began around 70 AD and was completed a decade later, with the inaugural games lasting 100 days and attended by 80,000 spectators, a celebration befitting the greatest amphitheater of all time. The phrase bread and circuses, originally coined by the Roman poet Juvenal in his Satire 10, eloquently captures the political strategy employed by ancient Roman leaders who sought to placate the populace by providing free grain and lavish public entertainment, thereby distracting them from pressing political, social, and economic issues that might otherwise incite unrest or demands for reform. This tactic was not merely a spontaneous gesture, but a calculated approach to maintain social order and consolidate political power within the sprawling Roman Empire. Leaders orchestrated grand spectacles, particularly in the iconic Colosseum, officially known as the Flavian Amphitheater, constructed under the Flavian dynasty and renowned as one of the tallest and most architecturally sophisticated ancient buildings in Rome. These spectacles included gladiatorial contests, animal hunts, and theatrical performances, all designed to captivate the masses and divert their attention from everyday hardships, such as corruption, poverty, and economic instability. Over the centuries, the Colosseum has endured significant challenges, including seismic activity from earthquakes that have caused partial collapses, natural weathering from exposure to rain and wind, the corrosive effects of pollution from modern urban environments, and vibrations caused by the relentless traffic of contemporary Rome, all factors that accelerate the deterioration of this invaluable cultural monument. In response to these threats, a comprehensive €25 million restoration project has been initiated, led by the esteemed architecture firm IA Conti, in collaboration with a multidisciplinary team of historians, engineers, and conservation experts. This meticulous restoration involves advanced techniques to clean the arena's vast 22,452 square meters, carefully removing centuries-old deposits of grime and biological growth that obscure critical structural details, thereby facilitating precise and effective repairs that honor the original construction methods and materials. Among the project's notable patrons is Diego della Valle, the owner of the luxury brand Tod's, whose support stems from a deep sense of patriotism and commitment to preserving Italy's rich cultural heritage for future generations. Often, sponsors involved in such conservation efforts are granted marketing rights to use the Colosseum's iconic image, a modern parallel to ancient Roman customs, where benefactors inscribed their names on monuments to secure a lasting legacy and public recognition. While the Colosseum stands as the largest and most renowned amphitheater of antiquity, it is important to recognize that gladiatorial games and similar spectacles originated earlier in other cities, such as Capua, which hosted some of the earliest known contests. The Verona Arena, constructed approximately 40 years before the Colosseum, remains a testament to Roman architectural ingenuity. It has been fully restored and continues to serve as a venue for operatic and cultural events, thereby linking the ancient world to contemporary artistic expression. The Verona Arena's preservation and ongoing use have provided valuable insights into Roman construction techniques and societal values, influencing subsequent architectural developments throughout the empire. Collectively, these amphitheaters offer profound understanding of ancient Rome's social dynamics, political mechanisms, and technological advancements, and they continue to inspire admiration, scholarship, and cultural engagement across the globe today. These ancient amphitheaters, all constructed before Rome's iconic arena, offer invaluable insights into the past, present, and future of the Colosseum. Currently, the Colosseum is undergoing the most extensive restoration in its entire history, employing simple yet groundbreaking non-invasive methods. Dr. Darius Arya, director of the American Institute for Roman Culture, and an experienced archaeologist who has led excavations in ancient Rome, explains the cleaning process of the Colosseum. The exterior is being cleaned primarily through manual labor and elbow grease, with water playing the crucial role, not chemicals. Water is applied using a nebulizer, which creates a fine mist that loosens and removes pollution from the surface gently and effectively. After this, the dirt is brushed away, and the team assesses the necessary consolidation work for any chips or cracks in the structure, filling them in when needed. This process is part of a broader, detailed study on the effects of time on the Colosseum's materials. Importantly, water is never sprayed directly but nebulized to produce concentrated humidity that lingers for about 4 hours, allowing dirt layers to slide off without damaging the stone. In the sections that have endured this meticulous cleaning, experts are uncovering astonishing architectural details that reveal new information about how the Romans originally utilized the Colosseum. Thanks to scaffolding, restorers can examine closely the holes where bronze shields were once fixed, along with remnants of marble statue plinths that adorn the facade. Another fascinating discovery emerged on the second and third floors, where traces indicate the locations of numerous statues that once decorated the entire facade. The careful and cautious cleaning has also revealed red pigment traces inside the numbers sculpted on each arch, known as rubric, which were used as a form of ancient signage. Visitors in ancient times had access to 80 archways, each marked with a card for entry, and entry was free. 2,000 years ago, Romans of all social classes entered through these very arches to watch gladiatorial contests. Federica Guidi, an archaeologist and expert on gladiator life in ancient Rome, notes that the emperors perfected these games as a way to pacify the public. Romans, regardless of wealth, were deeply passionate about the games, which were more than mere entertainment. Their popularity spread throughout the entire Roman Empire, influencing Roman culture profoundly. However, the origins of these popular Roman games trace back much further, even to the great Greek epic, the Iliad. Homer, whoever he was, first described a series of funeral games held by Greek warriors to honor their fallen comrade, Patroclus. The champions competed in boxing and races. The contests stopped at the first sign of blood or clear dominance to avoid fatality. In contrast, as history shows, Roman practices in Italy would evolve quite differently. Giorgio Franchetti runs a school for gladiators in Rome and is recognized as an expert on ancient games. In 264 BC, during a period when Rome was at the peak of its empire, experiencing significant territorial, commercial, and military expansion, renowned Roman historians Titus Livius and Valerius Maximus recorded an important event. They described the funeral of a prominent politician named Julius Pera, which was held in the cattle market. To honor his funeral pyre, his children arranged for 3 pairs of gladiators to fight, marking the first recorded instance of gladiatorial combat in Rome. Over time, these deadly gladiator fights grew exponentially in popularity. Each time a prominent Roman passed away, increasingly elaborate funeral rites, games, and spectacles were organized. These events became highly anticipated public occasions. The organization of such games became progressively more costly, as they also served as a crucial investment for individuals seeking political careers, functioning as an effective campaign tool to gain public favor. Foreign organizers of these grand spectacles were known as lanistas, who rented out their services for the most elaborate events, which were wildly popular among the Roman public. Under the prime political opportunity in 46 BC, Julius Caesar inaugurated his forum, Caesar's Forum, by employing 320 pairs of gladiators, although there was no funeral to commemorate at this event, indicating that by this time the sacred funerary aspects of the ritual had been completely forgotten. The greater the enthusiasm for these bloodthirsty spectacles, the more urgent the need became to create adequate urban spaces to host such games. Rome, however, did not yet have a permanent venue for these events and had to constantly erect costly wooden seating structures, which in the late Republican period had to be dismantled after use for safety reasons. These temporary structures could serve as assembly points for many people, making them potentially dangerous. Meanwhile, thriving cities like Capua and Pompeii already boasted permanent arenas. Roman senators and consuls were cautious about allowing too many gladiators in the city simultaneously. At one point, Julius Caesar himself had about 5,000 gladiators, but he was told he could not keep them all in Rome, so he moved them to Capua, close to Rome. Capua, an ancient Etruscan city, was second only to Rome and Carthage in strategic importance at the time, directly connected to Rome by the crucial military highway, the Via Appia. It was here, for the first time, that two semicircles of a theater were constructed, facing each other around a central sand-covered stage. The Latin word arena means sand. General Director of the archaeological site overseeing Italy's most ancient amphitheater describes the Campania Amphitheater of Capua as the second largest after the Colosseum. Built by the veterans' colony of Capua in the 1st century AD, it features an enormous arena measuring 164 by 144 meters and is constructed with 3 tiers of travertine arches, topped by an attic with windows. To accommodate thousands of spectators who all needed to see the show, seating was arranged all around and rising upwards, much like a modern football stadium. This was a monumental engineering achievement for its time. The Romans were renowned for their construction techniques, having built aqueducts, amphitheaters, and roads, and they applied all their expertise to the amphitheater, aided by the large number of slaves they had at their disposal. One must imagine the thousands of workers required to build such a massive structure. Capua was also the first permanent arena constructed from brick, mortar, and stone, with richly decorated interiors and seating arrangements that set the architectural style for Roman arenas for centuries. While Capua's arena is the oldest and no longer used for entertainment, the amphitheater of Verona, located far to the north of Italy, remains an example of a functioning arena still used for public spectacles. This very large structure, capable of holding up to 30,000 spectators, hosted grand events, including gladiator versus gladiator combats, but mostly gladiators fighting against animals, whether ferocious or exotic. The peaceful period following the rise of Emperor Augustus saw significant expansion and the establishment of new colonies, along with the spread of gladiatorial games in arenas, which by then had become the hallmark of the Roman Empire. Epigraphs from these arenas tell the stories of famous Roman gladiators, some cited by name. For example, one gladiator was called Generous because of his bravery and died after many battles fought in Verona, but he died undefeated, never having been defeated in combat. Another gladiator was called Pardon because of his feline-like movements in the arena, reflecting the diverse skills and reputations of these fighters. When a gladiator lost a match, the final decision regarding their fate, whether they would be shown mercy or sentenced to death, rested squarely in the hands of the magistrate, or more often, the emperor himself. This verdict was not merely a personal judgment, but a highly public moment that held immense weight, influencing not only the gladiator on the sand, but also the tens of thousands of spectators who had come to witness the spectacle. The precise signal used by the emperor or magistrate to indicate death or mercy remains a subject of scholarly debate. While popular culture often portrays the gesture as a thumbs down, recent research and historical interpretations suggest that the symbolic action was more likely a motion resembling throat-slitting, a more unequivocal and unmistakable command to execute the defeated combatant. This distinction is significant because it underscores the brutal clarity of Roman authority and the weight of the emperor's word, which was absolute and final. Death often followed immediately, serving as a stark demonstration of imperial power and control. The architectural layout of the amphitheater itself reflected the rigid social hierarchies of Roman society. Victorious gladiators would exit triumphantly through the grand triumphal door, symbolizing honor and glory, while the defeated were led away through the libertinia door, a passage that frequently directed them toward death or enslavement. The spectator's experience was equally complex. The ornate vomitoria corridors, intricately designed to allow rapid movement of large crowds, have been partially preserved and are now displayed at the Capua Museum, offering valuable insight into the logistical sophistication of Roman entertainment venues. Although seating arrangements allowed for a mingling of different social classes, the distinctions of rank and status remained visibly clear throughout the amphitheater, reinforcing societal order even in moments of shared excitement. In the early empire, regulations were introduced to restrict who could sponsor the games and to limit the number of gladiators who could be presented, reflecting a broader political strategy to maintain control over these powerful public events. Augustus's successors expanded the scale and extravagance of the games, transforming them into elaborate spectacles that captivated the Roman populace with not only gladiatorial combat, but also wild beast hunts and theatrical performances. The Colosseum, enduring centuries of natural decay and human intervention, stands as a monumental testament to Roman engineering prowess and cultural values. Since 2014, extensive restoration efforts have sought to uncover and preserve its original grandeur, ensuring that this iconic structure remains a vibrant symbol of Rome's historical legacy. This enduring monument continues to be central to Rome's narrative of combat and spectacle, fueling ongoing debates concerning the ethics of preservation, the role of public funding, and the responsibilities of sponsorship in maintaining cultural heritage. Commissioned by Emperor Vespasian more than 2 millennia ago, the Colosseum was initially designed to host lethal duels and exotic hunts that exacted a heavy toll on wildlife populations, as noted by Cicero, who lamented the growing scarcity of imported panthers used in the games. Many gladiators were prisoners of war, forced to fight in styles named after Rome's conquered enemies, such as the Samnite, Gallic, and Thracian, infusing the contests with potent political symbolism that reinforced Rome's dominance and imperial ideology through these violent and highly ritualized combats. Gladiators were easily identified in the amphitheater by their distinct helmets and armor, with the Thracian helmet notable for its unique crest ending in an animal head, symbolizing ferocity and regional identity, often featuring intricate designs that reflected both practical protection and theatrical flair. Many gladiators were prisoners of war, forcibly conscripted into the arena as a form of punishment for their defeat, while others were criminals sentenced to fight as a means of atonement or execution. However, a significant number were volunteers, often driven by desperate economic hardship or the hope of gaining fame and fortune, who signed contracts with lanistae, professionals who managed gladiatorial schools, despite the heavy social stigma attached to such a degrading profession. Though widely despised by Roman society as having sold themselves into a humiliating and brutal lifestyle, gladiators were paradoxically admired and celebrated, much like modern-day celebrities, embodying a duality central to Roman games that was both brutal and revered. Even free men recruited to fight were legally treated as slaves, subject to harsh initiation rituals such as public whipping and other forms of physical punishment, which served as a humiliating reminder that outside the arena, they occupied a shameful and subordinate social status. Despite this contradiction, gladiators enjoyed immense popularity across all segments of Roman society, particularly among elite Roman women who often defined prevailing social norms to be near their favorite fighters, blurring traditional class lines and challenging gender expectations. Archaeological discoveries from Pompeii have revealed the burial of a woman interred among gladiators, likely a wealthy fan who died content and proud in her devotion to these warriors, a testament to the deep cultural impact gladiators had beyond the arena. Numerous stories and historical accounts recount how matrons and other women would abandon their traditional domestic duties to follow gladiators to the games, captivated by their magnetic appeal and the drama of their contests. Female gladiators, known as gladiatresses, also fought, though they appeared more sporadically and typically in less prominent roles or during periods when the games featured more diverse and marginalized performers. While some gladiators achieved significant fame and amassed considerable wealth, the vast majority lived perilous, harsh lives, marked by constant physical danger and the looming threat of death. Those who managed these fighters, the lanistae, wielded considerable power and influence, carefully training their gladiators to develop fighting styles that combined both skill and spectacle, such as the swift and agile retiarius, who wielded a trident and net to entangle opponents, or the heavily armored and muscular Thracian, who specialized in frontal assault, using short swords and curved shields. This strategic training and role specialization ensured that gladiators could perform distinct, thrilling roles that captivated Roman audiences and maintained the popularity and excitement of the games for centuries. The gladiators were provided with a rich diet and underwent specialized training, though not always with real weapons. However, the situation was quite different when they appeared before the Roman public inside the arena. There, gladiators were equipped with specific gear tailored to each type of battle or game. These were known as clemates, which came in various forms, including others called ochrias. There were numerous kinds of swords and shields, all differing in size, each designated for a particular gladiator. Training often involved the use of wooden swords, known as ludes, because they were considered safe weapons that couldn't cause serious injury. Additionally, since gladiators were not the elite class, far from the crème de la crème, it was unwise to arm them with deadly weapons during training. Nevertheless, the Spartacus revolt revealed the vulnerability of Roman society to these professional fighters. Spartacus, a former soldier in the Roman legions who had been condemned to slavery and forced to become a gladiator at the Gladiator School of Capua in 73 BC, led a massive slave uprising against the Roman Republic. This revolt rapidly spread throughout southern Italy. The Senate took 2 years to respond seriously to the threat posed by the rebellious gladiators of Capua, partly because they underestimated them and were reluctant to admit the insurgents' strength by deploying their best legions. The impressive underground labyrinth beneath the Capua Arena, which has only recently been opened to the public, housed gladiators and animals before their entrance into the arena. Trapdoors and elevators allowed scenery and animals to be brought up onto the wooden stage, which was covered in sand. Here, doctors treated wounded gladiators, while the scent of death permeated the narrow corridors. Water channels beneath the arena floor washed away blood and waste. The stage machinery, including trapdoors, pulleys, and planks, was designed to amaze the audience by introducing beasts, gladiators, machines, rocks, and anything else that could captivate the Roman public. Not all gladiatorial combat ended in death, as lanistas, the professional trainers and managers of gladiators, aimed meticulously to keep fighters alive for as long as possible, to maximize their substantial investment and to enhance the entertainment value of the games. Gladiators represented a significant financial and reputational asset, so it was in the lanistas' best interest to carefully balance the brutality of the contests with the longevity of their fighters, ensuring that each match was thrilling yet sustainable over time. The armor and equipment used by gladiators were thoughtfully designed to balance offense and defense, prolonging the battles and allowing for thrilling displays of skill without immediate fatalities. This balance ensured that the crowd remained engaged while preserving the gladiators' ability to participate in future matches, thereby maintaining a steady roster of popular combatants that could draw consistent audiences. Lanistas not only trained and managed these fighters, but also played critical roles as referees during combats, influencing outcomes and ensuring the rules were respected, often acting in collaboration with emperors and magistrates who held ultimate authority over the games, which allowed them to mediate disputes and maintain order amidst the chaos of the arena. Ancient frescoes, mosaics, and inscriptions from Roman amphitheaters vividly depict the intense enthusiasm of the crowds, who frequently pressured officials to spare popular gladiators, recognizing that the survival of these celebrated individuals helped draw larger audiences and increased profits for all parties involved, a dynamic that created a unique blend of spectacle, commerce, and social interaction. This dynamic relationship between gladiators, lanistas, officials, and spectators highlights the complex social and economic fabric underpinning these spectacles, revealing how the games functioned as a microcosm of Roman society's values and priorities. In the modern era, the ancient tradition of fight-to-the-death spectacles persists primarily in the form of bullfighting, especially in Spain and various Latin American countries, where it has evolved into a deeply entrenched cultural ritual, marked by rich symbolism and ritualistic precision. Toreros dedicate months or even years to meticulous preparation, donning the ornate and colorful traje de luces, or suit of lights, a garment steeped in history and tradition that symbolizes honor and bravery, reflecting the deep emotional and cultural resonance of the practice. Meanwhile, matadors confront bulls with a combination of strategy, agility, and courage, demonstrating an extraordinary blend of skill and resilience that evokes the spirit of ancient gladiators facing their formidable opponents, making each encounter not only a physical contest, but also a highly choreographed performance imbued with centuries of meaning. Roman arenas were more than mere battlegrounds. They were elaborate venues designed to captivate the public through a variety of spectacles that included the presence of exotic animals, live orchestras playing stirring music, and intense displays of bloodshed that satisfied the Roman appetite for drama and violence. Notably, Rome was the last major city of the empire to erect a grand amphitheater, culminating in the construction of the Colosseum, a monumental feat of engineering and political symbolism that showcased the might and grandeur of imperial Rome. Emperor Vespasian commissioned the Colosseum's construction following Nero's controversial and extravagant reign, which had culminated in the Great Fire of 64 AD, a devastating blaze that ravaged vast portions of the city, but paradoxically provided an opportunity for comprehensive urban renewal. This renewal included the creation of wider, more fire-resistant streets and the widespread adoption of brick and concrete buildings designed to mitigate future fire risks, demonstrating a strategic approach to urban planning that aimed to enhance safety and resilience. Nero's infamous Domus Aurea, a sprawling palace complex epitomizing his excess, was systematically dismantled by his successors as part of an effort to erase his legacy and restore Rome's image, reflecting the shifting political and cultural tides of the era. The Colosseum itself was constructed with the labor of thousands of skilled workers who employed ingenious Roman engineering techniques, such as the extensive use of arches, vaults, and concrete, all without the benefit of modern machinery, transforming the cityscape and setting new standards for architectural design that would influence generations to come. In close proximity, the Roman Forum and Circus Maximus served as additional venues for grand public spectacles, including political events and chariot races. While the emperor's palaces were strategically situated to overlook these arenas, reinforcing the symbolic bond between the ruler and the Roman populace, and emphasizing the integral role of spectacle in maintaining political authority. This sophisticated integration of entertainment, architecture, and politics not only reflected, but also actively reinforced Rome's enduring power, cultural sophistication, and the social cohesion that underpinned its imperial dominance throughout centuries of history, illustrating how public spectacle was woven into the very fabric of Roman identity and governance. When Vespasian rose to power in 69 AD, following the tumultuous and chaotic Year of the Four Emperors characterized by rapid successions, bloody civil wars, and widespread social unrest, he inherited an empire deeply troubled by political instability and severe financial distress that threatened the very foundations of Roman governance and imperial authority. The imperial treasury was nearly depleted, largely due to Nero's extravagant and often reckless spending on grandiose building projects, such as the Domus Aurea, lavish banquets that drained resources, costly entertainments designed to appease the masses, and ill-advised military campaigns that overstretched the empire's resources. Additionally, the recent civil wars and frontier conflicts had further drained both material wealth and the morale of the Roman people and army alike, leaving the state vulnerable to internal dissent and external threats. Determined to restore financial stability and re-establish effective control, Vespasian implemented a series of pragmatic fiscal reforms, some of which were highly controversial, such as the introduction of a tax on public urinals, a revenue source previously untaxed and overlooked, but one that challenged existing social norms and conventions. This tax levied fees for the use of public latrines, a necessary but unglamorous public service, provoking protests even within Vespasian's own family, illustrating the difficulties and resistance inherent in practical governance and fiscal policy. Despite facing criticism and ridicule, Vespasian famously defended this policy with the phrase, pecunia non olet, money does not stink, underscoring the vital importance of revenue generation, regardless of its origin, to the survival and prosperity of the empire. In a symbolic move to distance his reign from the excesses of Nero, the artificial lake constructed as part of Nero's opulent Domus Aurea was drained, and its grounds repurposed for the construction of the monumental Flavian amphitheater, later known as the Colosseum, which began in 70 AD. This initiative marked a decisive shift in imperial priorities from private luxury and self-indulgence toward public entertainment and civic engagement, reflecting the Flavian dynasty's broader commitment to restoring Rome's grandeur and social cohesion through large-scale public works. The construction of the Colosseum required the demolition of existing structures and the transportation of vast quantities of travertine stone from the nearby quarries of Tivoli, renowned for its exceptional durability and ability to withstand weathering, qualities that made it ideal for creating a lasting and imposing architectural masterpiece. Travertine, still a significant natural resource in Italy today, continues to be prized both for its aesthetic appeal and its structural properties in ancient monuments and modern buildings alike. Architecturally, the Colosseum presented a stark contrast to the polished and ornate imperial palaces with its rougher exterior surfaces, emphasizing its role as a functional, accessible, and public space rather than an exclusive residence. As a central venue for gladiatorial contests, animal hunts, and public executions, the Colosseum played a crucial role in reinforcing the Flavian dynasty's dedication to public entertainment and fostering a sense of civic pride and unity among Rome's diverse population. The creation of the Colosseum not only transformed the physical urban landscape of Rome, but also embodied the profound social and political shifts of the era, signaling the beginning of a new period marked by stability, pragmatic governance, and cultural flourishing under Flavian rule, which sought to heal the wounds of civil strife and restore the empire's strength and prestige on both a domestic and international stage. The Romans mined travertine near the Anio River and used boats to transport heavy blocks to Rome. The main challenge was moving materials from the river to the city center, requiring careful planning to ensure the stones arrived safely for Vespasian's Colosseum.